Welcome back, dear viewers, to the second part of our presentation on silent letters. This time, we are going to cruise through all the remaining letters after finishing with R in an alphabetical order. So we start with letter A, by the way. But prior to that, before proceeding, let me inform you that we have 3 columns in this presentation. We start with this the third column is for entries. This is how you find entries, words in a dictionary, in a good dictionary. The remaining 2 columns, the first and the second, the first column, first of all, is for United Kingdom, received pronunciation. When I was at primary school, it used to be called the King's English, the Queen's English, and so on. Today it's called RP, received pronunciation. The second column is for the US standard pronunciation. And so I want to stress here that we have broken these entries, both the entries parts as well as the phonetic transcription parts, in their respective syllabic parts. You see, it is very important. If you find a dictionary which records such information, please buy it, because it will help you in more than one way. For example, this kind of breaking a word into syllabic part will enable you to it's grammatical. An English word can only be cut in its syllabic part. So in the word secretary, you can cut it between C and R, E and T, R and Y, like that. But unfortunately here, there is only one letter, so it's forbidden to cut any syllable comprising only one letter. The minimum should be 2 or more letters. Anyway, so there is a bit of grammar here. And on the remaining here, on the phonetic transcriptions, it will help us pronounce correctly. This is for the pronunciation. For instance, when you come to the UK, you say secretary, secretary. But in America, that will be pronounced as secretary, secretary. Same with dictionary, dictionary. As you can see, the rest, the schwa is optional. And so it's the same thing here, but you will pronounce dictionary. If you want, you can say diction or diction, diction or diction, dictionary and dictionary, like that. Secondary, secondary. And so realm is the same thing. When I say item, it means the same information. Pleasant, the same thing. Extraordinary. Here we have silent A's, by the way. Silent A's. In America, extraordinary, 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 and so on. Key is the same. Voluntary, voluntary, voluntary. So we are through with letter A, a few cases there. Now we want to draw a general rule for all the adverbs that end with C-A-L-L-Y. This is supposed to be pronounced, according to the dictionary recommendation, as clear, practically, you see, economically, historically. And we can even get the other one, these 2, starting from CA, but before them there is an O, locally. You can say locally or locally. It's up to you. Vocally or vocally. Vocally or vocally. You can say that. We are through with the A's. You will find time to go through them at your own pace. We go to letter B. The rule says some words containing the cluster. Cluster means combination of MB, BT, BP. Well, in such a case, in such combinations, not always, but often, the B is silent. So we get this one, bam. Americans will make it a long R sound, bam. B is silent. We have highlighted it in red. All the silent letters are, entered in red color. So it's easy for you to spot them. Tomb is the same information. Plumber, the person fixing pipes in our home, is not a plumber. B is silent because it's preceded by M, and so on. When you are going up a tree, you are climbing, not climbing. And when you owe me some money, or I owe you some money, that's I have your debt. But we write the B, we don't pronounce it. It's one of the features, like we said yesterday, like we said in the part 1, of Germanic and Romance languages. They have silent letters. Doubt, subtle. As you can see, the B, subpoena. This is about the lawyers when you are called to court to go and present whatever it is. And so, we are through with letter B. We come to letter C. The rule says any K standing in front of N should be a silent K, like you say, knock. And so, Americans, knock. And so that's the spelling. C is silent. Indict, a big person, an authority, a VIP. You indict them. You know, Mr. Trump was indicted, blah, 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 and so on. We write the C, but we don't pronounce it. Victuals, the provisions you make for your travel. We don't pronounce the C, but it's written in the sound, in both. They are called victuals. Even the U and the A are not to be pronounced, but then we are concerned with letter C. There is this Jewish festival. It's called Hanukkah. Hanukkah, same sound also in America. But in its spelling, it has two spellings. This is more common, there is a C. This is less common. Whichever you choose would be acceptable. Then we say here, letter S, followed by letter C, breeds a silent C sound. Muscle. Are you seeing here? There is C in front of, there is S in front of C. That C will be silent. Science, muscle, and so on. Scent. You see, all those will breed what we call a silent C sound. We also have two cases, according to our research. We have come across two CH cases which are also silent. And these are flower, we should say fuchsia, that's the flower. Same with Americans. Also this one, rich people, when they go, on holidays, some of them own a number of these. Yacht. And so that's how we pronounce, we don't pronounce the CH, but we write it. Letter D now, we move to letter D. Letter D has also a number of silent letters. It doesn't mean all the time, but we have just spotted a few cases. A good-looking gentleman would be called handsome, not handsome. There is no hand there. We write D, we don't pronounce it. I'm going to visit my grandpa. You see, we have said that you should really, when you want to buy a dictionary which has got the entries in syllabic part as well as syllabic part in the entries and in the phonetic transcription, the pronunciation. Failure to that, you will be impeded really in your daily, performance of the language, usage of the English language. You will be finding a lot of problems. This is really the best you can do. And so far, it's mostly the Cambridge, the first edition of the Cambridge International Dictionary of English, first edition, has got this kind of information. And all American Webster's dictionary have got this kind of breakdown, breaking these things into syllabic part as well as the sound. So, let me open a bracket, I even wrote some letters to the Cambridge University and the Oxford University, asking them really to, include such kind of, breaking the entries and syllabic parts, in syllabic parts as well as the sound, so that it can ease the learning and teaching of this language. But to date, I haven't received any reply, but I wrote them, you see. So, it is very, very important to have such an information, a piece of information I mean. We come now to letter E. Oh, where has it gone to? Boss, where are we? Letter E, here. Letter E has many cases of silent letters. For example, in the UK, people say an advertisement. But in writing, we have an E after S before M. American will say advertisement. So, in the UK, that E in advertisement is silent. Other words are these. We say that the adverb early, ending in E-L-Y, the E is always silent. So here in both, variants, we should say here nicely, supremely, comparatively, here comparatively, 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 comparatively. That's American pronunciation. And then surely in the UK, surely, surely, surely in the US for that word. These are the pieces of information that you can find in your, classroom dictionary. Uniquely, same thing, uniquely. So we come to this other case of silent E. We come to this one, peaceful, not peaceful. No, we cannot say that. We don't have to read this E. It's not peaceful, it's peaceful, the way it is for both. And then, like we said in part 1, you see, the diphthong here in America is normally a monophthong. There. Here, there. Simply. Period. There. Period. Like that. And so we come to this one, verge. They will pronounce the R. Verge, the Americans. Cemetery. British sound. Cemetery. 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 As you can see, the stress falls on the first syllable. This word has got what? 4 syllabic parts as well as 4 syllables. That is to say 4 syllabic phonetic parts. Okay? The syllables are 4 and 4. Sometimes they don't always match. And so, we come to this one. I want to say something on the preterite. Preterite can be written with or without an E. It simply means another way of saying past tense. The preterite of regular verbs, those ending in ed in their preterite, in the past tense, well, in most cases that E is silent. We don't pronounce it. So for instance here, we shall say placed, T, not D, placed. You see? Tapped, tapped, backed. But of course here, the R will be pronounced, as we said in part 1, in educated American speech, all the R are pronounceable. Banned. There is only a special case where ed for regular verbs has to be pronounced. That means when the infinitive of that verb ends with a D or a T, then you have to pronounce it. For instance, this one here, you say boarded. Look at the syllabic part. Now look at the syllabic part of the sound. There is boarded, boarded. The full stop means the syllabic part. But here we don't have the R pronunciation. Here, salted, salted. We have to put the stress on the first syllable. Salted, okay, like that. And so also here, lapsus calumni, my dear, no matter who we are, mistakes will always crop into our final product. So that one, this word should be read as salted. As you can see, in the what? Entry, spelling, ed is a syllable. But in the pronunciation, the syllable is formed by T-I-D, D-I-D. So we should pronounce salted, boarded. Here, boarded, salted as well. All right? So this is about the letter E. We now move to letter F. Letter F, well, as you can see, we have got this one, halfpenny, chef d'oeuvre. Well, it's not really silent per se because it is F there and it has been replaced here. Oh yeah, it is silent. Sorry. The F is not present in the sound. This is called chef d'oeuvre. And so, chef d'oeuvre, chef d'oeuvre. That's educated American sound. And then we come to this spelling, we would say halfpenny, halfpenny, halfpenny. Same with the Americans. They will condone that diphthongs even there. There is no monophthongs here. So there is another strange sound, odd sound for F, which gives us the sound V instead of F. Well, this is how the language operates. We have so many odd sounds in English and French. You write a different letter and you pronounce it differently. That's part of the language. We have just to comply and make an effort to understand how the language operates. We now move to letter G, silent letter G. When our letter G is silent, well, we say when letter G precedes, that is, precedes letter M and N, it often becomes silent. That's the rule. So let's go ahead. As you can see, G is in front of M, so it precedes M. In the sound, we'll get paradigm. Americans will change it into paradigm. Diaphragm, when you are studying the heart, it's the same thing, diaphragm. G is not there, it's not audible. Benign. Flame, we write it sign, we don't pronounce. Nu, this is the wildebeest. When you go on safari, you will see these animals migrating in the Serengeti, and we call them nu, not gnu. The G is silent because it is preceding N. That's what the rule says. Then foreign, foreign. You know, someone who is alien, not a native, is a foreign. But in America, it's foreign, foreign. That's how they pronounce it, okay? And so, we come to this other word, which is a bit strange. This is the spelling. The Cambridge people would spell it, what is that? Oh yeah, and Oxford, okay? So we have here imbroglio and imbroglio. We have the same pronunciation, except that the O in America is a rounded O, okay? And so it has to be highlighted, in fact, as usual, okay? Imbroglio is silent. It's not after, before M or N. It's another case we have to learn by heart. Now we come to the GH, combination of G and H, which are silent in these words. Thought, though. Look at how they change. Here we have the schwa and and there we have the schwa and and so we have though. And so thorough, they are silent. Then we come to G and conventional sound. You know, we are just from saying that sometimes we write different letters and they produce odd sounds. Okay? When we write like this, we shall read it as hiccup. There is no P, but that's the sound in both variants. And this one is G, but we shall pronounce it as gilet. Gilet. You know, it's a word borrowed from French. So, as you can see, it's an odd sound, not a silent sound. So, this is what we can say about the letter G. Now we come to letter H. One wonders if, well, maybe we can proceed with letter H in the next presentation, the part 3. I thank you once more for sharing your precious time with me. I'm very, very, very humbled by your commitment to education. But await part 3 very soon. Thank you very much.